back to my eyes. Tell me what is
Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Shepherd's Podcast. Want to give a shout out before we even jump in. We don't really have listener of the week. We have listeners of maybe the
whole series.
Yeah.
The Fab Four.
Yeah. So maybe the only 4 people that ever listen.
That's true.
You got Natasha Hip.
Yeah.
Help me.
Renee Talley.
Renee Talley. Love Renee.
Vicky Daniels.
Vicky and
Amy
Eubanks. Yep.
If nobody else is going to listen to this podcast,
They're the 4.
those 4 ladies are going to listen to this podcast.
That's right.
So this podcast is for you.
It's dedicated to you.
Go to Starbucks, mention our name, and buy a cup of coffee at full price.
And they'll give you one of those sleeves for free.
Yeah, they'll give you a sleeve
the
for
little
free.
cardboard sleeve.
There you go.
For free. So today we're going to continue the membership, and we're going to talk about serving in church.
Yes, and this kind of drove me down these 3 topics that we're going to talk about. I don't know when we're going to record next podcast. We'll have to figure that out, by the way. Because when I was in Atlanta, JB Hurt talked about raising a generation of volunteers, recruiting and developing volunteers in your church.
Yeah.
And we had just spoken kind of a week of emphasis of everybody should serve the Lord, and the best place to serve the Lord is in the church.
Sure.
Or at least, I mean, you may serve in the world, but out of the church. The covering of the church is a great help. And so we had talked about that. There's opportunities to serve in children's department and youth department and music department and ushers and greeters and safety and media, and we have outreach ministries, and we want to encourage you to be involved. Everybody should serve the Lord with their talents and their time.
Right.
Because it doesn't run itself.
It's contrary to popular belief. So I'm listening to JB talk, and he said something that really struck me. He's talking to pastors and ministers, and here's what he said. If you are doing something in your weekly routine that you could train someone else to do, then you are doing a disservice to them and to the church by not training someone else to do it.
Right.
And he's right. Now, the 3 of us are here, and we're all guilty of this because we're guilty of, I'll just do it myself.
Yep.
It's easier for me to do it myself.
Yep.
The last time I trusted somebody to do it, they didn't do it, or the ball got dropped. And so just never mind, I'll just do it myself. And that is part of the risk. But the reality is, if any of us are doing things that we could train someone else to do, I don't like train, teach someone else to do, and then trust someone else to do, we're doing a disservice to them and in many ways to the church by not teaching and trusting them to do it. Everybody needs, we're a body, and everybody needs to function and find their place where they function and find their place where they serve, whether it be in a heavily involved task or a minorly involved task. For instance, and he's not listening right now, but you guys, you might not have noticed. Well, you probably did, and I know you noticed because you're in there every week. But for the past 2 months, I've had Pastor Jeff open the service, do the welcome greeting, do the announcements. Now, I have done that for years.
Yeah.
But the reality is he needs to do that.
Yeah.
The church needs to see him because he is the assimilation pastor. The visitors, he's their first point of contact. They need to know who he is. They also need to hear another voice. I think it's healthier for the church if it's the first time they hear my voice is when I come up to preach.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, that's not always the way it'll be, but otherwise you keep hearing the same voice, and in a while you just get numb to it.
Yeah.
And both of you probably could think right now of things that you are doing week in and week out that in reality, yeah, I could teach somebody to do that. And it really would it would help them and it would help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, JB brought up a great point. You got to be willing to let them fail.
Yeah.
And they're going to fail.
Yeah.
But the reality is, so did we.
Sure.
Yep.
And that's how you learn,
Yeah.
you know. But, of course, we are, and I have very intentionally hired independent workers, and that's probably the downside of it. In their independence, we just rather do it ourselves. But we don't do the body any good by not letting people find, here's something I can do.
Right.
Here's some way I can contribute. Here's a way that, and even though to some it will seem menial and not necessarily vital, and we'll have to communicate to them, this saves me X amount of time. This takes this off my plate. I don't have to worry about this.
Right.
I think, and that sort of inspired me. I think we all, as pastors, and I'll challenge us next week, we all need to look at what am I doing that seriously I could teach somebody else to do and release them to do it, realizing they're going to fail, but at the same time helping them overcome it. Healthier for them, healthier for the church, healthier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that a lot. I guess it was youth camp this year. Colson really wanted to do something in youth camp. He really wanted to help out. And I said, here's a video camera. Here's the controller. Here's how you do it. Here you go. Have fun. And he didn't get it right, and he still doesn't get it right. But I think he's been a great asset for Pastor Bo.
Oh, yeah.
In the youth building. He's already he's taking steps to improving, but it was taking that chance. I know he's my kid and I can fuss at him, but at the same time, giving him that freedom just to say, you know what, do your best. It doesn't really matter if he fails. It just matters that he knows that he could do it better. And him that.
He will fail.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
But that's how you learn.
I've learned from more mistakes than I ever learned from my successes.
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time, I can't tell you the right way to do it, but I can tell you 100 ways not to do it.
But that gives that motivates him, that excites him.
Yeah.
That makes him want to do better and want to be more involved. And I think that's probably a broad viewpoint that especially we as independent guys have to learn. I look at preaching at the pulpit, and the reality is I got guys who can preach, so I don't have to preach every Sunday, and I'll probably use them more over the rest of my pastorate than maybe I have historically. No, I mean,
Pastor Bo got really excited about that.
I got where I am because Brother Johnson let me preach.
Right.
He got to the point he let me and Chris preach one Sunday a month. It might be rotating. I might be 1 month. He might be the next. But that was kind of how that went. And that's how you learn. Now, you especially for stage time, mic time, et cetera, you always get the people who say, I want to hear you.
Right.
You always laugh about, if I'm not preaching.
The substitute teacher?
Yeah. And you said one Sunday some guy got there, didn't see my coffee mug on the pulpit and left or something like that. But that can't be the deterrent.
Yeah, sure.
That can't be the deterrent at all. But everybody should serve somewhere. Everybody has gifts and abilities. Everybody has talents. They're not all the same, but we all work together for the building up of the body. And not only that, you guys have people under you who, if they're doing things they could teach somebody else to do, they ought to do that.
And I'll tell you, one thing I learned very quickly was it takes all different kinds of people.
It does.
And I learned very quickly that, the people who I thought were the best volunteers, the ones who are willing to be there anytime the doors are open,
Right.
the ones who will do anything you ask them to do. Like, you need those people, but you also need those people who are willing to come in once a month
Yeah.
and give you an hour of everything they got once a month.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we've talked about this in within the last year of especially trying to, how do you get younger people involved?
Yeah.
The biggest deterrent to a millennial, a Gen Zer, whatever, the biggest deterrent I would say to anyone 45 and under is when you say, I want to volunteer, when they say, I want to volunteer, and then you immediately hand them a piece of paper and go, all right, here's what you're committing to every Sunday,
Right.
every Wednesday.
Right.
You're going to be here this amount of time.
Right.
You're going to be here early.
Here's your job.
You're going to be here early.
Yeah.
You're going to be here. And they're going to see that and go, when we talked about last time about the fear of commitment, they're going to see that and go, whoa, what if I can't make it?
Yeah.
What if I don't want to? What? I personally have found more success looking at people and saying, what can you give me?
Yeah.
And then 9 times out of 10, what always happens is they start off going, I can do probably one Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then the next go around, it's, hey, just put me down for as much as you want to put me down for, and whatever, because they find value in what they're doing is making a difference.
Well, and I saw that when I became children's pastor.
Yeah.
You had the long-term teachers there every Sunday. It's back in the old day. There every Sunday, never missed a Sunday, came in with their cutouts cut out, and all of those things. They were just committed to that Sunday school model. You never had to worry about them. Over time, those teachers began to die out.
Yeah.
And a new breed of teachers came along.
Yeah.
And we actually began to look at, can you give me 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Can you give me every other Sunday? Can you? Because, and in all honesty, people today are busier on weekends than they've ever been. Now, we can preach against that all we want to, but the reality of it is they're doing a ton of things. Church is not the only show in town anymore on Sunday.
Right.
And so you do get to the point you want to preach hard. You need to be here in church, but you got to face the reality of, can you give me one Sunday a month, 2 Sundays a month? Can you give me a Wednesday?
And on the other side of that coin, I think of 2 of our volunteers in the youth department, Shanda and Joy, are both teachers in middle schools. And on Wednesdays, it's not even in the cards for them.
Right.
But they're both like, hey, any Sunday you need me, you just let me know, and I want to be here. So it creates an opportunity for somebody who can't do things during the week to do things on a weekend.
I think as the church, as this culture begins more and more to demand people's time culturally, the church will have to adjust the weekly demand to what can you give me? And the church will have to develop team workers.
Yeah.
Okay, this team, your Sunday, you're the first, second Sunday, you're the third, fourth Sunday. I mean, it'll really become a team concept of doing these things.
Because our tendency, and Daniel and I have talked about this recently, just in hanging out and talking. Our tendency is when we find somebody who does something well.
Oh, yeah, you don't want anybody to touch them, and this is your job.
This is you're the guy, or you're the girl, or you're the person, whatever. You are it. But it puts the church in whatever role it may be. The usher, the sound person, the violin player,
putting all the eggs in one basket.
You're putting all the eggs in one basket, and if that basket ever gets the flu, or has a car accident or gets a flat tire, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
He used the example, particularly for senior pastors. If you haven't trained people to do what you do, what's going to happen when you die or when you leave? Then all the ministry you've built up is really going to be on wobbly ground, which is a lot A lot of truth in that. You know, you mentioned younger workers, the younger generation, and it came up in the presentation. Either him or the guy that followed me was talking about the younger generation will do it, but they want to know why.
Yeah, they need a why.
They need a why.
Yep.
They need to know, okay, why do we do this?
And that's reflective on what I've seen. Like, okay, if I can get you in the coffee shop one time,
right,
and making coffee, and then you realize it's not about making coffee or refreshers, it's about connecting with those kids.
Oh, you sent me the picture a week or two ago on the coffee shop that was standing room only with kids in there.
Right.
It's Sunday night, wasn't it?
No, I think it was a Wednesday
night.
But I tell my volunteers all the time, if you want to get to know kids, serve breakfast or work in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Because you got to ask them what their name is.
Yeah.
You'll find out what they like. You'll get a chance to talk to them. And 9 times out of 10, I love starting people in those areas.
Yeah.
Because then they come back and go, okay, I want to do it more because I realize it's not just filling a spot.
Not about making coffee.
No, it's not filling a spot. I get why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But that's so true. They got to know why they're doing it.
They want to know the why.
It's not just what it is. Why do I need that?
And I took that. I put those two together. We have to get better at training people to do the things they can do, and they need to know why it's important they do it. Which goes back to what I mentioned last week. It's why on Sunday when we do announcements, I'm going to pick one when I get up and say, let me tell you why Bible study is important. Yeah, we have it. We don't have a quota of events we have to do. If we don't do those, we get our pay docked. This is why we do Bible study. Yep. This is why being involved in Christmas programs is important. This is why, when I'm thinking of the fall, Hallelujah Night's a big deal, the Hallelujah Festival. This is why volunteering in youth church or children's church. This is the why it matters.
Here's the challenge in a multi-generational church.
Yeah.
The challenge, or one of the challenges, is you've got folks who have been doing whatever it is that they're doing
for forever,
40 or 50 years.
Yeah.
And then to try to introduce someone new, they almost see that as a threat at times.
I've been fired.
Like, no, this is my area.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Which goes to the point that we really haven't trained them well to understand, this is what you are doing for the Lord. And at the end of the day, you aren't successful unless you've trained somebody to do it with you or in your absence.
And I'm not to keep bringing this up, but, If I can get a volunteer to come and sit in the gym and monitor I got my volunteer schedule in front of me right now, actually, because I'm still working on it. If I can get these 4 people right here on September 28th to come sit in the gym and hang out in the gym, and they come and they sit and they do the minimal, I don't think that I've done a very good job of communicating why I need them to do that. Like, I need you to keep kids safe. I need you to make sure don't get the wiffle ball stuff out and kill somebody, whatever. But
when the argument starts, break them up.
I'm really big on earn the right to be heard.
Yeah.
So, when the argument starts, when,
have that relationship.
When those workers can go up to those kids and say, man, come on, calm down.
Yeah.
If you have a relationship with them, then that's a different conversation.
Sure it is.
If you don't, you're just another adult who's yelling at them, and that's all they hear all day long. Teachers and principals and parents and crossing guards and everything. You're just another old person yelling at them.
I have flashbacks to the guy who was all upset about the girl laying over on the boy's shoulder, and he got all bent out of shape and said something, I think, and you had to correct him. Look, that's her brother.
Yeah, that's her brother.
But he didn't know the kids well enough,
right,
to be able to weigh into that. He's just and that's part of it. It's if you haven't developed, you earn the right.
But that's part of the why.
It is part of the why.
It's not just part of the job description. It's part of the why we do this.
Yeah,
it's part of the why.
And that's church wide.
Yeah,
that's absolutely church wide. So for the pastors who were listening, I thought I agree. JB did a great job. He's taken it a little further than I'm probably ready to take it, but that's okay. Every church is different. But the idea of, what really struck me from him was if there are tasks you are doing that you can teach someone else to do, you're really doing them a disservice, and inevitably yourself and your own work a disservice by not teaching them to do it and letting them do it.
And don't be afraid to share the details.
Yeah,
I've fallen short on that more than anything else. Is that I've got about 4 guys that can run upstairs, run the switcher, and do the video stuff. I don't have any reservations about them. But when we were having problems with the live stream, and okay, what's next step? For them, they didn't know what to do.
Right.
So leaving out those details, kind of how do we get to there? It took them out of the mix.
Yeah.
And it handcuffed me.
Yeah. And it makes the church totally vulnerable to your availability.
That's right.
Because if you're sick,
right,
and everybody doesn't know all of the pieces, we're dead in the water.
That's right. Because we have a primary and we have a backup, but even in that event, when it fails, and it will, as we've learned.
Oh yeah. Everything's gonna fail.
You have to understand the process, and if they don't understand the process, not just okay, here's where you turn it on. In my instance, where you turn it on at, sometimes they have to understand why. Bo was having a problem in the student center yesterday, and he was able, because we had walked through the process, he was able to understand a little better why it wasn't working the way he needed it to work.
Because some people came in and went, "Oh, I'm turning that off," and turned it off.
And turned it off.
Yeah, and we're sitting there.
They didn't know the why.
Didn't know the why. Just turned it off. I would add to this. Maybe this goes back to the let them fail thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Malden, Daniel will remember this. Dr. Malden always used to say, there was always, every semester when new people got in lead singers, there was always 1 or 2 that you're like, really? Like they got in? Like, really? And especially if you
didn't hear that conversation, you were the one that
well, and especially as your seniority grew and you were a part of the audition process.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were either in the singing or you were in the interview, but you had no input on the final list.
Right.
Or we'd have a little meeting and talk about it and give thoughts, and then the next day you see the final list and you're like, what in the world? And Doc always used to say, sometimes people need us more than we need them.
Yeah.
And I've learned that sometimes a person who probably doesn't check all of the boxes that you would want them to check.
Yeah, they need that spot.
They need that foot in the door
Yeah.
to get them just even in their own personal relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Like they need a little bit more.
Absolutely.
They need us more than we need them.
And there will be place to the pastors. There will be places in your church that you think, I don't need this person.
Yeah.
Maybe to be seen. I don't, but the reality is, but they may need it.
Right.
And the things you can address gently, you can address gently.
Right.
And they may just need somebody to say, hey, I want you to do this. Here's what will make it work.
Right.
And again, I go back to something I say all the time. We are terrible at conversations.
Oh, yeah.
We are terrible at just having a conversation. And hey, okay. But yeah, like JB's got to the point that he'll write the sermon and then give it to somebody and say, here, preach it. I'm not there yet. But if you're going to preach, you preach what the Lord's given you.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm not there yet. But no, and I would say if you are in the church and you aren't serving, you ought to have a conversation with a pastor. I really want to do something. And it may take you 2 or 3 tries to find out where you fit.
Yeah.
Paul wrote about, am I the eye? Am I the ear? Am I the hand? It may take you 2 or 3 tries, and we have people who say, I want to work in children's church, and They go to children's church. Oh, okay, that's not for me. I want to work in youth group. Yeah, okay, it's too loud in there. Oh, okay, you want the senior adult group,
Right, yeah.
And it's just a matter of
and there's no hard feelings.
no.
It's we want to find, because if you're in a place that's not best for you to be,
It's not best for us.
Well, it affects more than just you.
Yeah, it's something else you got to deal with, which brings us back to the point of I'll just do it myself.
That's exactly right.
But the inevitability of if I do it myself, sooner or later I'm going to max out,
Yep.
and so productivity is going to dwindle because I'm trying to do everything in my area myself. And here's what's going to follow that: frustration.
Yeah. Burnout.
Probably if you're frustrated, you are doing things that you should be teaching other people to do.
Yeah.
And you also have to fight the person. I don't say the persona. It's easy to see yourself doing it and think others are seeing you doing it, so it makes your validation.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
There's greater validation in you doing it than there is in you teaching and letting somebody else do it.
Right.
However, that's, Paul wrote to the church at Ephesus, and he talked about pastors, that we are here to equip and train. The implication being we aren't supposed to be doing the work.
Yeah.
And members don't listen to that and think I'm trying to get out of work. But that is what Paul said. We are to equip and train the members for the service to the Lord.
Yeah.
That's our primary responsibility. Then he would also write that we are fellow laborers. So obviously we're involved in it as well. But no, to the members, you should be involved somewhere.
Yeah.
It should be, and let me put an asterisk there. I mean, obviously there are medical situations. Maybe you can't stand for very long periods of time, or maybe that type. But let me just stop here. Everybody can pray.
Yeah.
We have prayer services on Tuesday. Bob leads the men's prayer meeting. There's a elders prayer meeting here in the chapel. There's a intercessory prayer group that gets requests online. So everybody can pray.
Yeah.
But then there's other things that need to be done at the church and through the church that there's no reason that, that everybody can't be contributing. And there's no reason we shouldn't let everybody contribute, teaching them to serve, understanding that they're going to make mistakes, but so do we.
Yep.
But no, that was one of my good takeaways from last weekend, and we had just talked about it here about get everybody being involved. And so one of the things we're doing on the Sunday night Bible study, and I'm leading it this fall, and I know I could teach it and train somebody else to do it, but I really felt like I wanted to do this with the men. And so what we are doing,
And I'll jump in.
please.
Tell me, Daniel probably, there was excitement in that men's group. You could tell. It was palpable of Pastor Madden is teaching the men's group. Like, they were very excited.
First one there was Howard.
Yeah.
The guy you delivered his underwear to him in the hospital.
And when we should probably give some context to that story. His wife is homebound.
Right.
He was in the hospital.
Right.
And she just called and asked if somebody would come. Whoever's going to visit him, can you come by? I have some stuff for him. Went to her house. Lovely lady, very sweet. She prayed for me. Not 100% sure she knew who I was, because she said that it was so sweet that I was helping my dad do hospital visits that day. But she gave me some stuff. Well, here's his underwear and his phone charger. So I went to the hospital, knocked on the door, and he wanted to know if you were back from your trip, and he wanted to know what the topic for Bible study was.
Yeah.
And could somebody find out what the topic he needs to know? What's the topic for Bible study?
And let me say this. I'm not going to teach the men's Bible study every Bible study.
Sure.
But to come in occasionally and give a spark. But my idea was, and totally transparent moment, I don't want to teach. It's not that I don't want to teach, but the idea of preaching twice on Sunday morning and then coming back on Sunday night and teaching a lesson just seemed counterproductive to me. So I ordered them all a little booklet, English Standard Version, 1st, 2nd Timothy, Titus, with journal pages. And here's what we're doing. We're sitting around tables. All right, guys, for the first 7 minutes, you read the first 5 verses, and then you write down what those verses say to you.
Yeah.
What does the word say to you? What do you see in that? Write down words, write down thoughts, write down themes. And after 7 minutes, then you are going to discuss among yourselves at your table, what did each other see? What did each other hear? I said, go back and forth. I didn't see that. Well, I'm not sure. I have the discussion. Because, again, it goes back to, at the end of the day, Paul said, at some point, you ought to be able to teach the word.
Yeah.
And so then after 7 minutes of that, then the whole room throws out, this is what we saw, this is what we heard, and we talk about it. And it was great the first Sunday night. By the time this drops, we've probably done 2 or 3. I had a man stop me this morning. He said, I can't wait till next week. And I'm thinking, oh, right. He said, verse 7 and 8 of chapter 2. I want to hear what you say about that. I'm sitting in chapter 2, 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy starts out, I urge men everywhere lift up hands, praying for all. And I'm going through there, and I looked at him. I said, is it about women? And he said, yep. I said, we're going to skip over that.
Yeah, it was.
But, again, it's hopefully then they'll be able to teach.
Right.
That's kind of the drive, and they'll be able to go to the nursing home or go into the youth group and say,
right.
Hey, guys, let me tell you what 1 Timothy says. 1 Timothy says that we should have love from a pure heart, clean conscience, simple faith. This is what we're striving for.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got off topic. But, yeah, if you're in the church, wherever your church is, you ought to talk to a pastor or pastors. Where can I help? And if you're a pastors, you ought to look, what am I doing that I can teach someone else to do?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm good.
Well, please send us emails. Daniel's desperate for some emails.
Yes.
Shepherd's Podcast at praisecathedral.org.
Please.
Send us emails, things you'd like to hear talked about, topics, questions, concerns, all of that stuff. So give us a shout out, and we appreciate you being with us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.